Welcome to All-Star Fantasy Recap Week 6. My name's Matt, the man, the myth, the legend. I'm here to class up your week again. I'm joined by Eric, somebody who I actually am going to enjoy having on here this week. It seems like from what we were talking about earlier this week, we have some of the very same ideas of some of the shit teams in this league.
That's one way to put it.
That's
definitely.
one way to put it, okay.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
So, just a little feeler about you. How does it feel? First place, first year in the league.
Let's see. Has surprise been overused yet?
Has surprise been overused yet? I used surprise 1 week.
Right.
And after that, I said dominant.
Right.
So,
I mean,
everybody else that comes on this show, though, seems to be surprised that you're 5-1. I don't know why. You lead the league in points right now.
Yeah.
You've been mowing down everybody except for me, of course.
Yeah, well, and let's be fair. That was my first week playing.
It was your first week playing, and I understand.
First matchup, I made some bad decisions, but, it's fine.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, you get a chance to redeem yourself later this year because me and you go again.
You bet your
But
ass I will.
we'll get to that because I think that's like week 10, so we don't even have to worry about that. So getting into our results from last week. The first matchup, and I called this for being the matchup of the week, and I'm still so miffed about the way it turned out, is Dan beating myself, and Sam Bradford actually came through for a touchdown along with his 3 picks, and he magically just, gets the win on that by 4 points.
Hey, you've had problems with Lacey for the whole year?
Hey,
pretty much?
Yeah, the 35th rated running back this year. Latavius Murray and Lamar Miller going forward. This is enough said.
Sounds good. I mean, 2 points isn't going to get you anything.
Ooh.
I mean, the rest of your team has been pretty good, pretty consistent, double digits every week, but, man.
The only thing missing for me right now is a PPR league with DeAndre Hopkins and Julio Jones, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
So your thoughts on these two teams moving into playoff time? Because we're starting to get closer now.
Well, obviously, with you guys being in the top of the league, you're the strongest competition, shall we say. You guys are both high-scoring teams with a lot of depth. I think if you can handle your running back situation, which it seems like you have, but we'll see what happens next week to kind of solidify that. And I think if Dan can settle into a lineup, I think you'll be all right. And I'm not really sure at this point because I haven't played Dan yet, which one I'd rather see in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm saying it like that. You guys have a problem with it, whatever. But yeah, it's two very strong teams, very strong offenses. Yeah.
That's what I like to hear. All right, so moving into our second matchup of the week, and this is our ass beating of the week. And surprise, surprise, with who's involved in it again, Mike on the losing end of the ass beating of the week to Ricky here. Thoughts on the crappiness level of Mike's team here at this point? What do we?
I thought for sure coming in he'd have a little bit better of a season than he's had so far. And I mean, for the guys he's drafted, okay, Lynch had some injuries, whatever, we'll give him a pass, but he drafts Stafford and Luck as his quarterbacks, and really, what have both done? They're both bad offenses. Luck's been hurt. I mean, with the exception of, helping out my boy Moncrief every once in a while, he hasn't really done much. So, I mean, Mike, I don't know what your problem is. Maybe you need to focus a little bit more on the waiver wire and not pick up some bad guys and, make some good moves instead of picking up everybody's stragglers.
I honestly think that the only thing sadder right now than Mike's team, and this is going to be the only thing I say about it, the only thing sadder than Mike's team is Joe's delusion that he's even going to make the playoffs.
We'll get to that later.
We'll get to that later, though. Joe, I hope you like this week. It's going to be another fun week for you. Now, our third matchup of the week here, we got Matt and Brian. And Matt takes Brian in this one by about 30 points. So what's your thought on, Brian's fall from the top here? This was another top team for the past couple of years.
It seems like all the top teams this year have sort of taken a nosedive. And I don't know if it's because, you had some fresh blood in there that kind of shakes things up. Maybe take some guys that they would have taken.
Have some teams in here that actually, manage their team.
Exactly. Like, I don't know if that's what it is, but between the three major owners, Brian, Joe, Caesar, something's in the water. I don't know what it is.
I like what's in the water.
Well, I like
They're
what's
all
in the
in the
water
bottom half.
too.
It's great.
I don't mind it. A win for me is a win for me. Who cares? But yeah, Brian's got to do something. I don't know if it's poor lineup choices, but he's got to do something.
Yeah, with you there. All right. fourth matchup of the week here. This is the matchup that I said last week. Nobody gives a shit about what's going on here. This is the Caesar Joe matchup, and surprise, surprise, Caesar wins.
Yeah.
With all the trash talking that the champs do, and Caesar wins.
I would think Caesar would have to win. He's only revamped his whole team in the last 3 weeks.
Oh, no kidding, right?
So if he
gotta
didn't
love the way
win-
they drafted, right?
Well, yeah, that's great, but he's got to win. I mean, you make that many moves, you have to either know what you're doing, and if he's an experienced owner, like it's been talked up, that's great. He obviously had some inkling, but I mean, Joe, you want to talk about somebody who's making poor lineup decisions.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure he'd be the first to admit it, and I'll admit it too. I made some bad choices all around. Could have started some players, but there's a difference between doing that and then doing it every week.
Oh, he does it every week,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just seems like he's been getting into this, I wouldn't even say funk. I'm just saying, he got lucky last year. Especially by the sound of it, Caesar's been beating Joe around for the past couple years, too. So, Joe got his moment in the sun, and now he's
Crumbling under pressure.
we're dragging him back to earth.
Well, it has to happen.
It does, and I'm glad it's happening. In our last matchup of the week, we have Eric beating Rick, and I mean you're mowing down people at this point here too. I thought this was going to be close going into the end there too, and I thought he might put up a fight, but he ends up not doing so hot there. What's your thoughts on the way Rick's been playing now? I think this is 3 straight losses for this team at this point.
It's been tough, and I think he's started having some problems with the whole Roethlisberger injury. He's got a couple running backs that maybe aren't giving him the point production he likes. I think putting in Shane Vereen last week kind of hurt him when he could have put in Stewart. When he gave him 20 points, definitely would have been a lot closer.
Damn you, airplane.
We're not talking about the movie. We're talking about the thing that's overhead right now. And yeah, sure.
I hope there's snakes on that plane.
Samuel L. Jackson wouldn't approve. But yeah, I think, the thing is, though, he's scoring pretty highly every week. So he's putting up a fight. In direct contrast to Brian, I think he just needs to actually hit a good streak and a good opponent where he can get some of that confidence. Have good matchups, get some points, and I think he'll take it. But,
okay. Yeah. All right, so getting into our scoring title here. And I'm going to let you take the guesses on this one, too. I know you've probably done your research. Who's our top 3?
I'm going to name in order, and I'm going to try to guess the point total, too.
Okay.
So it goes me, it goes you, and then it goes Dan.
You're correct on the order.
And I'm at, like, either 620-something or 630-something.
You're off.
Oh, wait, no. You're at 620. I'm at, like, 660 or 670?
670. 673. I'm at 632.
Dan's at like 60.
623.
Oh, 623. Okay.
You got the order right. Numbers a little bit off, but we'll give it to
Whatever.
him because he at least tried, unlike some of the other people that have been on here. So, I just want to do a little Q&A with you here too.
Sure.
So, I mean, obviously I'm going to know the answer to couple of these questions, but your thoughts on the draft for our viewers. Everybody was railing on you for the way you drafted this year.
I wouldn't even say railing. I would say completely ignored. I remember
I like that better.
standing in the back in front of around everybody, and this is going to come off salty, so I'm sorry if this offends some people, but you know what? Who cares? I remember standing around the back looking at the spreadsheet of everybody's team, and they're talking, oh, well Matt drafted good. Well, that Randall Cobb pickup for Brian was good.
What has he done with that now?
Yeah, I know. But
2 and 4.
You have all these guys that were like, oh yeah, this draft is cool. I think maybe it could have been Dan, could have been somebody else. One person was like, yeah, you had a sneaky draft. I'd watch out for him.
You know what? I think you're right. I think it was Dan because I think he was talking to me about that one too.
So that makes sense.
So-
But everybody overlooked me. I think I had a good draft. A lot of my targets that I wanted, at least for a core of a team, running backs, wide receivers, QB, I all hit and had relatively no problems. And I think 11 of the 16 players I have now were all drafted.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good retention there too. So
Yeah.
So I like to hear. Okay, so speaking of Dan too a little bit, what's your plan of attack when it comes to getting rid of Dan? He seems to be the only person that's been hanging up there with you.
Yeah.
I personally think a lot of it is the fact that Dan, he's in the top 3 in scoring, but he's also in the top 3 in points allowed.
Right.
Though too, as far as least points allowed.
Well, let's be honest. I think that sort of streak is not really retainable.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's had some good matchups, and he's faced some of the weaker teams thus far, Joe. So he's had the opportunity to beat up on them, and that's why his scoring is so high. I think if that wasn't the case, we'd see him more in about that equal level. He still wouldn't give up a lot of points, but we'd see a little bit less offensive production from him. So my plan of attack is, if he wants to go for power, I'll slug it out.
That's what I like to hear.
I think this week is point enough that I could go in, I could steamroll you. If you put a bad lineup in against me, I'm gonna make you pay some way in matchups. If not, then I'll slug it out with you. I think I was down by 10 points going into Monday night.
Yeah.
And I had your boy, Zach Ertz. 3 points. But then my boy, DeMarco Murray, like 18 points, covered me up. So,
good. Kudos to you for sticking with Murray too on this one. I mean, like you said, you've been slugging it out all year with everybody, and I mean, when you slug it out like that, there's no reason you shouldn't be at the top.
Right.
So, I want you to give me a little bit of a power ranking too. So this is what I want you to do. I want to get you to give me the top 3 teams for you in the power ranking right now. It doesn't have to be based off of record points. Just who you think at the end of the season these are going to be the top 3 teams.
Okay. I'm going to exclude myself from this one.
You're going to exclude yourself, okay.
Because I think I will, if not, you know what? No, screw it. I think I'll
Put
end up
yourself
as the
in
number
there.
1 seed.
There you go.
Plain and simple. To this point, yeah, Dan's 5-1, but I haven't seen a lot from you to actually justify that. He keeps saying lucky, with your point totals and everything else. I think that's kind of true. You're a good manager. You know what you're doing. You haven't faced me yet. We'll face each other next week. We'll see what happens. And I'll win. It's going to happen. I don't care what you say. It's going to happen.
Exuding confidence,
and I'm
this
sounding,
man.
You can call it confidence. I just know. Okay? Being overlooked kind of does this to you. But I think, okay, so I'll take number 1. I think I'm going to give it to... You know what? I'll give Dan second. The 5-1 start is what gives him a little bit of that edge. He's already off, he's going, but eventually that'll come down. Somebody's going to knock him off. And hey, that could happen to me too. You never know. Do I think it's going to be monumental collapse? No. Do I think he's going to have a monumental collapse? No. But he's going to lose more games than I do. Plain and simple. So we'll give him second. Fine. Whatever. Not a big deal. I think we'll give you third. Provided that Lacey lays off the cheeseburgers, hits the gym, and actually maybe puts up some points.
We may not even have to worry about Lacey. All my other guys are through their bye weeks, so.
Well, then you know what? Whatever. He's fine. He'll take third. It's all good.
Till Lacey proves that we don't need to worry about Eddie Lacey. So, give me a little bit of buy or sell here, too.
Sure.
And we're going to start with... I'm going to use the top 4 teams here this week.
Sure.
So, we're going to use you included, but first team, Dan. We're buying or selling where Dan's at right now?
I'm buying.
You're buying?
Like I said, he's a good owner, good manager, knows how to put a lineup in for the most part. Yeah, so I'm buying.
You know what? Even though he beat me off the fact that Eddie Lacey sucks now. Frankly, Eddie Lacey sucks. I have another running back in there. Hell, I have Amir Abdullah in there, and I win that matchup.
Yeah.
So, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm selling Dan right now. If I can even, just mess up that bad, and you still only beat me by 3 points. What was it? 4 points?
Yeah, 4.
Then I'm sorry, Dan. I gotta sell on this one, man. Actually, you know what? I'm not even sorry about this one. I'm selling on you wholeheartedly. Luck has been what's carrying you through this. Your second buy or sell here. We're gonna go with my team.
You know what? I'm gonna sell, just for the fact.
You selling my 3-3 record,
Yes.
or you selling my third place?
I'm selling you 3-3 record.
Okay.
I think you should be higher just based off the team you drafted. I think you ran into some tough matchups in the times you did lose. Guys not putting up production, but yeah, I think that's where I'm ending.
I got to be smarter with the way I'm putting it. You can say it as often. I got to be smarter with my laps.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So, the next team, we're going to buy ourselves Ricky here, where he's at, his 4th place.
You know, he's so, and you've used this before because I watched all the podcasts in a row before I came here. You've used bipolar for him, and I think you've used it for Matt as well. And it's just, part of me wants
Perfect word for it.
Yeah, part of me wants to sell it. I mean, he's got Brady putting up a good chunk of his points, but you know, if something were to happen to him, and I was going to say God forbid, but you know what? I hate the Patriots, so who cares?
Something happens to Tom Brady, it's the greatest day.
Exactly. I'll have fun with that until the cows come home. But I think, yeah, I'm selling this one.
All right, the last team, are we buying or selling your team?
Oh, you're buying it?
Of course.
There's no doubt. Okay.
It's a stupid question, but I got to ask him.
It is a stupid question, but when you have a 5-1 team, which, by the way, 5-1 team, first year playing fantasy football, and let's be honest, first year actually giving a shit about football in, I don't know, decade. You have someone who's going 5-1, making good lineup decisions, or effing them up and still winning matchups, like not putting John Brown in and him getting 17 points against the Steelers.
The top 5 people from last year should be embarrassed. That's frankly the way to say it, which I say top 5 because that doesn't include me because I finished last year.
Sure.
But the top 5 should be embarrassed with themselves right now. It is. You are brutalizing people right now. You know, and I like to say I'm proud that I am the one loss on your record right now.
Yeah.
And like you said, you know, it was week 1 of a guy who hasn't played fantasy football really ever.
Yeah.
So, you know, kudos to you though, my man. And you know what? I'm just gonna. I wish I had some like sound effect to go with it, because I am buying this wholeheartedly, Eric. You are running roughshod through people right now, and let me tell you, when we get to the playoffs, because I know I'm gonna be there, because I'm showing up to that party for damn sure. I know you're gonna be there. I hope I see you in the playoffs. Hell, I hope I see you in the championship game.
Probably will.
Because, you know, if I'm gonna stick it to anybody in the championship game, I want to stick it to the best. And
Makes
I know
sense.
you want to do the same thing.
Yeah, makes sense.
To be the best, you got to beat the best. And right now, this man is the best.
I won't do too loud. We're in a park, but yeah. Woo.
All right. So, time's pretty much come to an end. We're gonna get into our week 7 matchups,
Okay.
and then we're gonna hear who that mysterious person that you're calling out this week is. Who my mysterious, not so mysterious Joe call out is this week.
Yeah. It's no fun with him, but
It's no fun with me, just because, you know, Joe, I'm going to call you out every week until that title is mine or Eric's or someone else's, just as long as it's not around your freaking waist anymore. Okay. Week 7 matchups. We got myself and Mike. I don't think this needs to be talked about even too much. I'm taking myself here.
yeah.
And I'm going to call this the ass beating of the week just to continue a trend because Mike's gotten it 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, you know, I'd like to say that. I am going to say you're going to win, though ESPN would say it differently, so who knows.
Really?
They had you by, like, 1 point.
I reset my lineups
So there you
today.
go.
So
That's
I
what happens.
actually have a kicker and a tight end that are playing this week.
So never mind. He's going to steamroll Mike. It's fine.
Okay. So wait, without a kicker and a tight end, I was still beating Mike?
No, I think so, yeah, actually. By, like, a point.
Christ. Okay. Mike, get your shit together, man. Get off the bottle, whatever it is that you're doing right now, and set a fantasy football lineup.
Don't worry about fantasy hockey. Just stick to football. It's fine.
Yes, you don't need to worry about fantasy hockey because I'm kicking everybody's ass in that one anyways. But that's a whole nother video and story about that. So,
The other league.
second matchup, we got Brian and Dan.
See, I'm going with the ass beating of the week here.
Okay.
With Dan beating Brian.
I'm with you on this one. I'm taking Dan in this one. I already used my ass beating of the week, but I'm taking Dan in this one, and I think it's going to be by a big margin.
I would agree.
So, third matchup, we got Joe versus Ricky. And even though Ricky's very, very bipolar with his team, Joe's team is just so god-awful, it makes me sick that I have to look at it every week and see there's an AP for that. you know what? Keep your same team name that you had from the beginning of the season, okay? Points come in bunches.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that you drafted that son of a bitch, because he hasn't done crap this year after I talked him up to you. Put it in your mind, dude.
Joe, I'm just going to put it this way. You put a waiver wire request in for Gary Barnidge last week, who I'm pretty sure, and I know I'll add to your thing, I put a waiver wire in for him last week. That's only because I had a tight end on a bye, knowing that I wasn't going to get him. You got him, and then you didn't even play him, and he got 15 points. Poor lineup decision.
Who's his other tight end, even?
Delaney Walker?
Jesus Christ, Joe. Come on.
I think. Don't quote me.
Joe, the man has
Sorry.
put up 15 points for 4 straight weeks. If he is not in your lineup this week, you might as well just bring your title over to someone who cares. Come on.
I'll pick it up Sunday. It's fine.
He'll pick it
You
up
won't
Sunday.
even
There you
lose
go.
yet, and I'll pick it up.
Actually, you know what? Just throw it in the trash because we're getting a new one at the end of the year anyways.
Sorry, Caesar. It's not your fault.
Yeah. Caesar, thank you for buying the title, and it served its purpose, but Christ, we're getting rid of that stupid thing by the end of the year. Okay. Enough about Joe until later. Rick and Caesar. Who you got here?
I'm taking Rick.
You're taking Rick? Okay.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be our close shave of the week here.
Yeah, you know, I have a tendency to lean that way as well. But I think Rick, you know, Breeze will do him well.
Mm-hmm.
Between the lineup changes that he had, he'll be fine. Yeah, really. Sorry.
You know what? I'm going to actually go against you on this one here, too. I think Rick, he's still in a little bit of a funk right now, too. And I know this is his first year playing, and, you know, this is a lot better than I think a lot of people thought he was going to do this year.
Yeah.
Especially for someone who's kind of reluctant to do it.
Sure, yeah.
Caesar, the role he's been on recently and the way he started managing his team like he actually gives a shit. You know, I gotta stick with that. I gotta stick with the hot hand here.
True.
Always stick with the hot hand. I'm going Caesar, but I'm gonna say this is gonna be we're actually gonna have a close shave of the week this week.
Sure.
And our last matchup of the week between Mr. Domination and the team name that is so fitting for him, Le'Veon Prayer.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna have to just throw one up and hope for a prayer this week, because I think this is going to be steamrolling dominance by Eric.
Yeah. I mean, if we go off ESPN predictions, it's only 99 to 92 or something, or 102 to 92, something like that. I made lineup changes. I don't remember.
And you know what? Even with the ESPN predictions, you've been blowing your ESPN prediction on the water each week, so I'm not worried about it at all, and I'm not. I don't think you should be worried about this matchup. I think you should be looking another week ahead, essentially, at this point. You don't even have to look at this week. It's going to be a blowout.
Yeah, very true.
Your thoughts?
On the matchup?
On the matchup, yeah.
My thoughts on the matchup, well, Matt, you seem to be all right. You're doing fine. You hit that unluckiness like the other Matt said. You're hitting the brick wall, though. Just want to say that. I don't know if you've ever hit one before. It's kind of fast. It's kind of hard. It's kind of cold. You might end up with some shavings in your eye or something from the mortar and the grout and all that. But we'll scoop you up. It'll be fine. I don't know who you're playing in Week 8, but you probably have a better chance at them than you do me.
Take out your aggression on Mike, because I think it's him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'm going to get my call out of the weekend here real quick. We'll send you out of this just because it's my show. I get to go first.
Oh, of course.
But my call out of the week, and I'm going to switch it up a little bit this week. I'm not going to use it on Joe. I'm going to use it on Joe's piece of shit belt. Dear God, that thing is I have not seen something so ugly since the U.S. title spinner belt was there.
Wow.
It is the most atrocious thing I've ever seen. Not only is the WWE title belt bad to begin with, but to put stupid gold duct tape over it, and not even a legit one. Caesar, I know you can't afford the real ones; those get expensive. But good God, man, why don't you just spray paint a piece of leather and wrap it around Joe? Because that's pretty much what it looks like right now. It is the most god awful thing that has ever graced this earth. Joe, for that, you receive no points, and may God have mercy on your soul for having to wear that belt. I feel sorry for you that you have to hold that piece of crap around your waist. And I will be happy to take it off of you by the end of this year. The floor is yours, my man.
Well, while I agree with what he just said up until that last sentence, it's probably not going to be the one to take the belt off you. It's probably going to be me. Just saying, you know, go ahead.
Let me at least take the belt off of him. You can keep it. I just want to watch him. I want to be closest to him when he starts crying because the belt's no longer his.
That's fine.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. I will put it on you if you
we're good.
Okay.
Forget that.
Do we got a deal then?
We're
We got
fine.
a record. Okay, cool.
We're fine.
All right, good.
So, I'm going to call out the entire league,
Ooh.
including the man sitting next to me.
Hey, I like this.
And I'm calling him out, number one, for not realizing the shitstorm that he started 5 weeks ago. When he got on video and he goes, you know what, Eric, I didn't really see too much out of your team. Even though I scored like 95 points and he puts up 140, we're going to let it go. It's the first week. But he created a monster that I don't know if you guys can handle. You haven't been able to handle it so far, so why should I believe that you're going to be able to handle it any time in the future? It doesn't really make sense to me. There's nobody that I'm worried about. Dan, I'll see you in 2 weeks and beat your ass there. Sam Bradford, I know I'm an Eagles fan, but if you dare start him, it's not going to happen. Oh, wait, no, I forget. They're on their bye that week, so you can't start him, so Phillip Rivers will suck. So who cares? Or pick somebody up off waivers. I hear Ryan Tannehill's available.
Recently available.
Yeah, I only picked him up because I forgot that I dropped Eli, and then I was like, oh yeah, he's facing the Cowboys. Who cares?
It's all right. I got Tyrod Taylor out of the deal. I'm happy.
Yeah, it's fine.
And I didn't have to pay Joe for it either.
Hey, that'll work. Joe, for thinking that you're the champ and having this real confident attitude about everything, thinking you're the best in the world, you ain't shit. You're not CM Punk. You can't grow a beard like Punk. Just saying. What have you done this year? What have you done? Don't Snapchat me next time we play. Oh wait, we're not going to play because you're not going to make the playoffs. But don't Snapchat me next time we play and talk about how your team's putting up points and you just overtook me by like 2 on a Sunday with 2 games still going on. It's not going to happen. I'm going to call out like Caesar and Matt Maltese and a few other people that like to make stupid trade offers. I'm not going to give you Arian Foster for tenths of a tenth of a tenth of a penny on the dollar in a trade. Take your Isaiah, whatever the hell his name is, from the Browns. Not giving you him. Not giving you Cooper. Not giving you anybody. You want to take Macklin? He's got a concussion. Who cares? I got Larry Fitzgerald. Big deal. You guys want to keep underestimating me. And maybe you're not now. Maybe you're tired of talking about me. Who cares? If you want to keep saying you're surprised by what I'm doing, keep talking and keep being surprised when I beat all your asses.
That's a call out. That's how you do it right there, guys. Can you get on the freaking page with this? Eric, thank you for joining me this week.
Thank you for
on the
having
show.
me.
I agreed with every word that you said there. I'm glad I created a monster out of this too. He can say I'm responsible for his winning now at the end of the year. So just remember, guys, it's the end of the week. Let's begin week 7 right now. Who cares? Sunday's not the end of the week anymore. Wednesday is now the end of the week because Thursday starts football. Stay frosty, bitches. We'll see you next week. Matt out.